I failed the CCNA IT exam 3 times. Fast forward 2 years later, I was a senior network engineer making 6 figures. I did all of it without a college degree. I decided I wanted to teach way more people on how to become a high-earning network or cybersecurity professional without a degree. So my co-founder and I started Zero to Engineer to help people launch their IT careers through real-world skills, hands-on training, mentorship from real engineers, and create job-ready students. So far, we've helped over 1,000 people through our world-class training programs. Fill out a quick application that could change your life forever.
Working for NASA was your dream company.
You come a long way as a kid in urban LA to being able to work at a place you only dreamt of in like 4th, 3rd grade. I'm actually inside the control room. You know when you watch movies and they say, Houston, we have a problem. It's, oh guys, I messed up. My name is Richard Martinez. I was working in education as a assistant director at a Montessori, and now I'm a control room analyst for NASA. One person who was a part of the interview process, he called my would-be boss and he said, hey, this guy knows more than guys that I've worked 10 plus years in the field with. And that's not just because of me, because at that point in time, the only IT knowledge that I had was from NextGen. It's easy to try to pick and choose between schools, but this one has literally put me on a path to my dream experience working with NASA. And that's worth more than money to me.
Yo, what is going on YouTube? How you all doing today? My name is Zach Hill, tech evangelist here at NextGen, and I am pleased to be welcoming with me here Terry Kim over there, who's our CEO here at NextGen. We are super stoked today because we're going to be talking to you about starting your IT career in 2021. What do you think about that, Terry?
Super excited to be here on the show, but yeah, 2021 is going to be epic. As always in IT, and there's just a lot of cool stuff happening in technology, from AI to automation, self-driving cars, cybersecurity is blowing up, cloud, you name it. Super exciting time to be in IT. Can't wait to jump into all this and talk about this.
Yeah, for sure. 2020 has definitely, it was a year to show us, I think, how much we really needed more IT professionals. And I think we're feeling that crunch even more so now. So I think when we look at 2021 and why it's the best time to get started is because we need you. We need people like you who are maybe you never had an interest in IT before. Maybe you had the slightest interest in IT and you're wondering like, man, is IT right for me? Is it the right choice for me to make? And quite honestly, I feel like it's always the right choice. It could always be the right choice for anybody out there because we can all do it. Every one of us can do it. We can sit down, we can learn, we can definitely be trained on these things that are all technology related. You don't have to be, a mathematician, you don't have to be a programmer, and you're never too old to work in IT. And again, 2021, we need people, especially in cybersecurity. What do you think, Terry?
Absolutely. Right now, I mean, the research shows that there's going to be over 2 to 3 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs by the end of 2022. So, I mean, let that sink in for a moment. Zero unemployment, right? It's going to balloon up to millions, right? 2 to 3 million unfilled cyber jobs in just one category alone. And right now, there's over 500,000 unfilled jobs in just IT in general. So it's super exciting. This is the year to level up and get started in IT, whether you're starting from zero or if you're already in IT, right? If you're working on like IT support or maybe you're a system admin, network administrator, it's time to level up. And I would just want to talk about how we can kind of level you up and answer any questions that might be coming to mind about, hey, which direction do I take my career from here? Because I've dabbled down that path so many times. I remember when I just jump started in IT, coming out of the Air Force, I just wanted to work in IT. And it's important that when you look at IT, like I've been in IT for over 20 years now, started my career in 2000, right? During the dot-com boom. And I just thought the internet was fascinating. I was like, wow, I don't know like how to build a computer. I don't know how to, even like literally log on. That back then it was like dial-up. I was logging into my 56K modem, getting a connection, checking out Yahoo, checking out these pages. And I was like, wow, this is the future. So the first step I took was I went to the electronic market in Seoul, Korea, and I built, Zach, my first PC. I like built it from ground up, like got the CPU, got the memory. I got so excited about building this PC. I think I budgeted about $500 equivalent to US dollars. And I built this PC and I was like, wow, if I can build this PC, maybe I can build technology, maybe I can build infrastructure. And so that's how I dove in. And during my career, it's about catching trends. So we can dive deep into that because right now there's a lot of trends happening. And what really catapulted my career was these trends. And they come and if you catch it early on, you could be that early adopter. Why? Because when a new trend or new technology emerges, guess what? No one's the expert. You can be that expert 3 years, 5 years down the road, right? So, never be discouraged by what you don't know because you can learn it. And that's what's super exciting. So when back in 2005, fast forward 5 years later, I discovered, for example, voice over IP. So voice over IP was super cool. VoIP technology, when every company is using like old traditional analog and PBX, those phone lines, right? Remember those days? Well, in 2005, Cisco was like really like getting really mainstream with voice over IP technologies. And I started dabbling into that. And once I built my skill sets around voice over IP, I saw my career take off, right? All right.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I love it's so exciting setting up your first PC too. Like I know that feeling. It's you so pumped up. And I think a lot of people think that's really hard, but it's really not. It's just, it's like, taking the blocks and like the circle blocks and the square blocks and rectangle blocks when you're a kid and putting them in the holes that they match. Like I think that's very similar to setting up a PC. Not as hard as you think. Now I kind of want to jump into, the learning portion of it, the training, because I think a lot of people think it takes a lot, to get started in IT, and they're not sure what's really needed. And I think definitely in the last couple years, more so than in the last 20 years, because I've been in the field almost as long as you, it's been shown that the hands-on skills, the experience is really what employers are looking for, right? And I know people are like, well, how am I going to get these hands-on skills? And, how do I get this experience? And that's where I think where NextGen T comes into play. And I think that's one thing that really sets what we're doing different from everybody else, is because we focus more on those hands-on skills. Like, yeah, you're going to get certified through us, which is great, but we're actually giving you those real skills, those real projects that, employers are going to look at and say, wow, you went through this in 6 months and you learned how to do this. And this is something that I've been saying for years. Like, we've needed this. We've needed this type of training. We've needed to take people and show them what they actually need to be learning, what they actually will be doing when they step foot on that job on day one. I want you to talk about that, because the NextGen T, the platform, the model, everything that I think we're doing, it just blows me away. And that's, when I came here, that's why I came here, is because the IT industry has needed this training for so long. And now, like you talked about being on that ground floor, we're on that ground floor. We're getting people trained zero to engineer, because we're giving these people the actual real world hands-on skills that are going to make the biggest difference.
Absolutely. I mean, like NextGen T, we built this from ground up. We said, hey, it's not about the certs. We're not going to just become another Cisco partner or a Microsoft partner. We said, hey, how can we reinvent tech education? How can we bring in the real world projects, the hands-on training? Talking about that PC build, right? Like that PC build, I was intimidated. I was like, how do I build a PC? Well, guess what? I looked on the internet. How do you build a PC? And I looked at all the different components. When I was young, I used to love Legos. And if you can understand that these are just building blocks, Same thing as if you want to get into network engineering, cybersecurity, there's these building blocks. And if you understand, like, you can lay the right foundation, and then on top of that foundation, you get the hands-on experience, like building the PC. Where it's like in the networking engineering world, maybe it's building that switch, all the printers, the computers connecting to that switch, configuring that, configuring the router. The router is like that police control cop that's going to say, go this way, go that way. It's, you know, that router, understanding how to build that, then layering on top of the firewall, securing that network with the firewall. So point being is, you get confidence when you build one component at a time. And then when you know how to start architecting, putting all these pieces together, guess what? Now you're an architect, and you can continue to just compound that knowledge, that experience, and it starts building confidence. But, you know, it's really about just breaking it down into the smallest component, taking one step at a time to learn this device, how to configure it, how to design it, and then moving on to another device in the IT stack, and then learning it, whether it's software or hardware device. And then you start getting like this library of, let's say, devices, software that you know how to configure. And then now you can architect. You can be like, wow, I can do this over here. I can bring in this over here. I can bring this. Now you become an architect of IT in an IT team, working on those projects, and you can start right away. There's so many simulator softwares out there. Like, we use Packet Tracer to really build and simulate an enterprise environment so students get hands-on experience. And that's the way that IT should be learned. Just like I told you the story about building my first PC. If you know how to build your first PC, then you can get into IT, period, right? My background was, you know, building that first PC, getting into online gaming, playing Counter-Strike and StarCraft, and then throwing a LAN party with friends, and then understanding, wow, we're talking to each other. All our gaming machines are rigged, and we're talking to each other, having a blast. Well, that's what, in an IT corporate environment, that's all it is, right? These computers needing to talk to each other, and then you layer on security, you layer on wireless, you layer on all these stacks, and now you become more confident about how these all kind of intricacies and all these components work together, creating that project, so to speak. And then once you do a project or two, you start getting really good at it, and it starts building confidence. And projects was the key to my success. Like voice over IP project, I didn't know anything about that, but I dove into it. I learned about it. I brought in systems engineers from manufacturers to value-added resellers inside the ecosystem that came in and started educating us and our team and our CIO, our VP of IT, and the whole gang, right? And then you learn, you absorb like a sponge when you're in IT, because it's exciting. Like, who doesn't get excited about being in IT when the technology is ever changing? You never get bored, seriously, right? And so when you start being educated about the trends like voice over IP, and you learn that, then your career is going to skyrocket. And that goes with any trends, with Internet of Things, for example, 5G, cybersecurity, malware, offensive, defensive hacking, ethical hacking, like you name it. You can take any particular trend and then figure out what's the hands-on skills, what's the projects I can dive into to build up my skill sets that's going to really help set me up for not just this year, but for years to come.
100%. Dude, I love just listening to you talk. It's so inspiring. It's encouraging, man. I just love it. And I think all the points that you brought up are fantastic right there, for sure. So thank you for that. Definitely. You want to jump into some questions here that we got?
Let's do it.
All right. Take a look over here. How do you, here's just a kind of a generalized question, but I think it's good. How do you face problems when something's not working right? Do you have any good tips?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's about that. It goes back to fundamentals, right? The foundation is the key to everything. So when you're facing problems and something's not working, it's about troubleshooting. So, we actually have a troubleshooting course, right? Built on a network infrastructure, iOS troubleshooting. But it goes back to the OSI model, right? The OSI model is the perfect example. And the way you can kind of memorize it is, please do not throw sausage pizza away. And it goes from the physical layer all the way to the application software layer. So when it comes to troubleshooting, a lot of people don't understand. It's simple as just troubleshooting from ground up. So when let's say a user calls me and says, hey, like, my PC is down. Like, I mean, my PC is not connecting. Like, is there something wrong or something like that? It's always about troubleshooting that physical layer. Like, did someone accidentally unplug the cable? Is the power off? Literally, that has solved so many issues when it comes to troubleshooting. And then you move into the data layer, right? The data stream layer. Then you move into the layer 3, the routing layer, and you move your way up all the way to the software layer. So that would be some good tips, is using the OSI model to work your way from physical, like cable, to all the way to the software stack to start troubleshooting.
Yeah, no, I want to chime in something. And I shared this with some people the other day. Is I went through an interview and I got hired for this position. And there's this question that they asked me. But after I got hired there, I said, "Why did you guys hire me?" And they said it's because I answered this one question right. And it was, a teacher comes to you with a laptop and it can't connect to the internet. How do you troubleshoot it? And the very first thing I said was, I'm going to check the wireless switch on the laptop, see if that wireless switch got turned off. That was the number one answer that they were looking for. And, they had said, we had people coming in starting from the very top, from the most complex issue to why that laptop wasn't working. And they would work their way down instead of starting at more of a foundational level, starting at that first layer. Like, all right, is it the switch? Just like, is the cable unplugged? Well, yeah. If that wireless switch is turned off, well, essentially that cable is unplugged. That's what's happening, right? That's what set me apart from everybody else that they interviewed. It was just starting at that foundational level and then working my way up. So sometimes it's not about thinking of issues at that very top level and thinking it's the most complex issue that you've ever come across because you're not figuring out right away. Sometimes you just have to take a few steps back, start at a foundation and work your way up to figure out where you need to go. And that's okay. That's okay to do, for sure. Here's Terry over here doing some Instagram live, I think. I love it. I love this guy. So thank you for the question. That's definitely a great question, for sure. And then we have another question here from Yusei. You say you're doing information security and assurance as your degree. You look like programming. You know how you have your C++. You learn basic syntax to data structures. But it seems like you're not going where you want to go, as I'm assuming. Well, where is it that you want to go? I guess that would be my question back to you. What is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to become a programmer or what? I mean, if you're trying to become a programmer, a developer, then I would definitely suggest that you start doing projects, start finding different things that you can build. And there's great ways to build different projects, from learning programming. There's tons of resources out there that you can utilize, especially through like GitHub. And that's a great opportunity to also show off the things that you are building. So definitely check out different projects. I think on YouTube, you could probably look up some and you learn from there for sure. Here's another question from Time Past Tech. What are some big upcoming boom areas in IT apart from AI, ML, and blockchain? Terry, what do you think are some big upcoming technologies that are really going to be popping here in the next couple of years?
All right, so great question. I'm doing a live stream on IG right now. What are some big upcoming boom areas in IT apart from AL, so artificial intelligence, and machine learning and blockchain? Great question. I mean, those are some hot sectors. But there's other, booming areas depending on your passion. I would say, like, for example, cybersecurity. I'm so gung-ho about cybersecurity. You cannot go wrong if you actually develop some skill sets in cybersecurity, period. Regardless if you want to be a machine learning engineer, regardless if you want to be a cloud architect, regardless if you want to be a network engineer. Why? Because security is embedded to everything. If you look at all the attacks that are happening, from these hackers, so to speak, these corporations and organizations need protection. And guess what? What's going to skyrocket your career? I want you to think about that from a mindset perspective. Well, it's going to be, how do you get job security? How do you make your career take off? Well, it's about providing value. How do you provide value to an organization? You either get them to make more money using technology, or you make them secure, right? Because if a breach happens, the stock will tank, or the company will go under, or they may still steal a bunch of customer records. So if you're a network architect, is learning cybersecurity very important? Absolutely. And if you learn security in no matter what IT career job you have, it's going to elevate you, and it's going to give you a great differentiation amongst your peers that might know nothing about cybersecurity, right? So again, cybersecurity is booming. 5G, like the IoT with 5G, Internet of Things, is like skyrocketing. If you look at 1998, there was 1 million devices connected to the internet, right? Fast forward 2020, we have it's projected to hit 50 billion plus in the next couple years. How crazy is that? 1998, right? 1 million, 50 billion plus. Everything is getting connected to the internet, right? From cameras to, my front door, like everything can have an IP address, literally, like your refrigerator, your smartwatch, every single device, right? So how do you secure that in a very distributed manner? I think those are some cool technologies. There's a lot of cool technologies around self-driving, automation, things like that. Automation, I would say, is really cool. Like DevOps is another cool sector that's going to continue to rise. So whether you're systems or network admin, you can start shifting to DevOps or maybe cloud or cyber. I think those are the hottest sectors, in my opinion, that I would start gravitating towards.
No, 100%, definitely. Cybersecurity for sure. I think that's going to become more of this foundational type of level of knowledge that employers will definitely start expecting as we keep, evolving here within the IT industry, especially with all the constant attacks and things that are happening. Having some type of security foundations under your belt, it's only going to help you move forward in your career for sure. And then outside of everything I think Terry mentioned, which was fantastic, definitely cloud. I mean, the cloud, 5-6 years ago, like the cloud was just coming about and many people were against it. And then now it's just the cloud is everywhere. Everybody's using something as a service, that is the biggest thing nowadays. Everything is in the cloud. So just having an understanding of that, it's not that it's up and coming or a big boom, but it's just something that's stuck around and it just only continues to grow and grow and grow. So definitely that is another one that I would definitely pay attention to as well. Well, we got a question here from InfoSec Pat. What are your thoughts on DevSecOps?
Yeah, so DevSecOps. What do I think? I mean, I think it's a very, very lucrative career field just because it has security and you're doing DevOps, right? DevOps is I wouldn't even say upcoming. Like DevOps is huge, right? Like even at our company as a startup, we're looking for a DevOps engineer right now. We have customers that transition or students that have transitioned, like Chase Mitchell. He went from network engineer and doing voice over IP stuff, and then he switched to data center because he got really cool, like fascinated about UCS. UCS is Unified Computing System for Cisco's server line as they kind of started competing with Dell and HP. And so that's interesting in itself as people look at data center and building data center blocks. But he moved over to DevOps, right? And if you look at DevOps, how do you layer, again, security on top of that as a role, whether it's DevOps, network engineering, cybersecurity? I love it. As long as you're layering in that security layer in any IT career field, you're going to boost up your career and you're going to boost up that salary.
No, for sure. Great advice. Sorry, I'm going through all the comments here. Somebody had a pretty good question. This person right here. First semester in college for computer science. Their dream is to one day be a software programmer, work from home. Any advice on where to start and what direction should they go? You have any advice on that, Terry? I can take that one if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in college, in computer science, like I would say, don't postpone your college degree to think I can become a programmer, right? We live in 2021 where you can literally go to a coding bootcamp or learn how to self-code yourself on a project, whether it's an iOS app or maybe it's using something like React.js or something doing on the front end, back end, Node.js. Those are kind of popular JavaScript frameworks where you can learn it relatively pretty fast, meaning the realistic expectation, I would say, is like 6 months. But you don't need 4 years to finish that CS degree to start working on the hands-on component, right? Going back to how do you kick off your IT career? Well, it's about that hands-on. The faster you can build the confidence and do hands-on and fail and learn and get your mind into that hands-on training, you're going to level up much faster. And you might be like 2 years into your CS degree and you might be like, bam, I'm ready to start consulting. I'm ready to go on Upwork, start working on some cool web app projects here on the side or on a project. So you can do projects on your own, or you can start outsourcing yourself as a contractor, right? To get your feet wet. Do not postpone your hands-on experience for that CS degree. The CS degree holds a little more weight in the software engineering world versus like in network engineering, cyber. You don't need that bachelor's degree at all, right? So I would say, that CS degree is cool because it's going to give you a lot of good framework and theories and foundation as a software engineer. But get on those apps. Start working on those soon as possible.
100%. Definitely. The GitHub is going to be an invaluable resource for you to start learning, and especially kind of learning what types of different projects you could be doing, because there's it seems like an endless list of possibilities out there on GitHub to really get your feet wet and start getting yourself involved into more things. So definitely check that out as well. Terry, one of the things that I want to talk about with 2021, which is outside of tech, right? There's the networking and there's the interviewing and, the resume building and cover letter, crafting and things like that. How important is that for a new person, getting into IT, trying to figure out their way around doing all these things and the interviewing and all that?
It's very important, right? So I would say if you are building your skill sets, 80% should be focused on the technical stuff, right? So things like building blocks, foundation, OSI model, and then learning different technologies to have a full stack understanding, right? Back in 2000, you can just program switches and routers and make $80,000, $100,000. That was in 2000, right? Gone are those days. So in our network engineering program at NextGen T, it's called the full stack network engineer. Why? Because our students know how to configure basically the entire stack from switching, routing, wireless, security, firewall, perimeter, intrusion detection, IPsec, you name it, right? They're going to encompass the whole stack, like as in a real world environment, and build those skill sets. So super, super important. 80% focus on those hands-on, 20% focus on the soft skills is what I call it, right? It's basically like being able to build up your confidence. How do you build up confidence? It's not fake it till you make it. No, it's about building confidence through sheer experience, through sheer trying, doing mock interviews, maybe with your friends, family, going through interview questions. Like in my career, I've done that so many times, right? When I was interviewing with Cisco, I would spend literally like tens of hours practicing my interview. Like if, what are your top strengths? Be able to boom, boom, boom with confidence answer that, right? What's your weaknesses? Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your bio. And being able to build confidence, being able to build enthusiasm, it's very underestimated, right? When an employer, a hiring manager is hiring you, just flip the script. Who would they rather hire? A monotone guy that is just answering these questions with just kind of, boring answers, so to speak, or someone that is really intellect, really smart, diving deeper into the question. And one advice that I always say is when you're interviewing too, if someone asks you like, what is spanning tree, right? Don't give them a one-liner. Go into spanning tree until that hiring manager says, whoa, stop. That's plenty of, spanning tree. I see you got, you know your stuff. So back to the basic questions, just nailing every technical question, nailing every non-technical question with confidence by repetition. And then when it comes to like LinkedIn or your resume, you just have to kind of really shine out from the pack. How do you differentiate yourself so resume is not cookie cutter, your LinkedIn's not cookie cutter, right? You don't want to have your LinkedIn where you take a selfie picture of where you were at a party and put it on your LinkedIn. No, you want a professional image on LinkedIn to really portray who you are as a professional, how you can be a rock star in someone's IT team, and really just paint that picture. Try to reverse engineer why someone should hire you, and then start working towards that on your soft skill side as much as your technical skill side. So 20%, you should focus on branding, EQ skills, always throughout your career, in my opinion.
100%. I could not agree with that more. And not to toot our own horn. You know, we talked here about what we do at NextGen T with our training, which is phenomenal. But we also have our career services team who work with you on your resume, your cover letter, your mock interviews. So they actually get involved with you, hands-on, not in person, but face-to-face with you. And they help you with these networking skills. They help you with these soft skills. And that's something, again, that really sets you apart from a lot of other people trying to get into this industry. We're really trying to craft you into a model IT professional, somebody that's just going to walk into an interview and blow someone away. That's really what we're doing here. And it's phenomenal. Again, not trying to toot our own horn, but it's really true that's really kind of what sets us apart from anybody else that's out there. You know, we care about people, and we care enough to work with you directly and try to help you succeed the best that we can. And that's what I love about our mission here and what we're doing. I know we're kind of limited on time here, Terry. You got anything else that you want to add? You want to throw in?
Yeah, I mean, for those that are starting in the career in IT, start building those Lego blocks, start building your foundation, and get super excited, like dream, believe, right? And then you can execute, right? And follow on course to successful. I have this quote says, dream, believe, create. Create that action plan, execute, and follow on course until successful. Get focused on what is driving your passion, what's fueling you, what technology is something that's keeping you up at night, right? That you're super excited about, and then hone in on that. And here at NextGen T, if you want to launch your career in IT or cybersecurity, network engineering, we have the programs for you. So a little plug about NextGen T is that we can help you go from zero to your dream IT job within 6 months. And if you're already in IT, we can help you really escalate that much faster, because like Zach said, it's not just about the projects, the mentorship, but it's also about career services to help you work on those soft skills. That's what we do from day one. When you join our program, you get a career coach and you get mentorship right out the gate to help you with all the other non-technical skills, because what employers want is not just that pretty resume with just all the certs, okay? If you think it's just the certs and that pretty resume that's going to skyrocket your career, you've got it wrong, right? So, so if you're interested in getting IT, check us out, nexgent.com, or check out zerotoengineer.com, where we've changed so many lives, and you can check out all our testimonials there.
For sure. Thank you, Terry. That's it for this live stream today. I want to thank everybody who showed up, participated. We're going to be doing these weekly, so make sure you tune in next week. We'll have a new guest next week. But thank you guys so much for joining, and make sure you guys check out the links in the description below. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We are here to help you. Our mission here at NextGen T is to change 1 million lives by 2030, and I think we are well on our way. And I am so extremely honored to be here working with you, Terry, and sharing this mission with everybody, with the whole world. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Dream big, level up.
Level up.